So now let's go over to our guests. Not much time to actually waste anymore on this show. So this morning we're going to be talking about, of course, women's participation, violence against women in the security institutions, and the establishment of accountability mechanism. And those who are clothed with the authority to speak on that issue, we're going to have with us this morning, as they've already seated, Cecil B. Griffiths, who is the president, Liberia National Law Enforcement Association, and perhaps Mr. Mohammed O. Masali, Technical Assistant and Gender Advisor, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. So let's go over to our guest. We're understanding that the Technical Advisor has not yet come. Let's go over to the President, Mr. Cecil B. Griffiths. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Strictly, let's go into the issue. You've come here basically to talk about violence against women in the security institutions and the establishment of accountability mechanism. What is it? What are your goals actually?
Well, the Law Enforcement Association has been working over the years with security institutions to be able to develop mechanisms that will enhance equality within the security sector. A couple of years back, we did a study on gender mapping, whether these institutions had gender policies and gender focal persons. So currently we are also embarking on a similar study. We hope to publish the results within the next month or two. But when it comes to the issue of gender mainstreaming, there's a national gender task force.
Yeah.
And that task force is composed of almost all the relevant ministries and agencies of government, with a couple of civil society actors that are monitoring the gender situation in the country and developing programs and mechanisms to enhance the protection of women, children, and even men, in the country. So currently, the Gender Task Force is looking at how to empower gender focal persons within the various ministries and agencies. They have embarked on a series of training programs. They have capacitated some of the agencies by giving them equipment and supplies. And so they even have mechanisms where people who are victimized, they can now go to one of their safe houses or one of their areas, and it's a one-stop thing where you have the police will be there, the police is there, representative from the gender ministry there, representative from the task force is there, and you have almost everybody there. So I remember just recently we had somebody give a report that they had problem in trying to document the number of cases that are reported by victims, in that so in some area the information is accurate, in other areas there are some problems. So with this new setup, information is now available that you can get on the number of reported cases, and the status of those cases. So from the National Gender Task Force area, things are working out gradually.
This group was established since 2016?
Yeah.
Yes, 2016. And you are responsible, you are playing a lead role in the peddling the issue of gender insecurity on the national agenda. Now, what has been some of the information in terms of challenges that you've received since 2016 as to women's own participation in security?
Well, currently as we speak, we did 2 trainings this year.
Okay.
One is on criminal justice statistics, where we were looking at the annual reports of security institutions to see if it conforms or they conform to international standards. And as part of the exercises, the interns who came from the various security institutions conducted a research on their own institutions to find out the level of participation of female in their sector. Those reports are coming, and it was followed up by a 2 months internship in research, which did like a follow-up on those reports. So we see that the police actually now has like 18% of females around that, and the AFL has like 4.7%. Immigration has close to 30%. DEA has like 32% around that. So when the results are finalized, we would publish it, and we'll have a public discussion on those figures to see how best things can improve. What we notice is that at the top level, we still have challenges in terms of women occupying senior law enforcement positions. So once that report is out, we would then flag out, some of our recommendations to see what can be done at that level. While for the police, while they do have like 18% at the lower level, at the top level, among the four DIG inspector generals, you have only one. But when it comes at the lower level, command level, you have a very low percentage of females.
So is the task force opting for a specific percentage of women's participation in the security sector, or are you looking at the well-being, the safety of women within those security apparatus?
The first thing, when we look at the national security strategy, the last one, because right now there's a new one that is supposed to be approved by this incoming government, and the poverty reduction strategy, all those documents, they said the initial, what they wanted was 20% female.
20%?
Yes. Maybe they would find a way to
20% in the police, in the LIS, the army.
Exactly. 20% is what was the base target for women.
It's such a low percentage.
Yes. So right now, based on research and the reports coming in, they might elect to carry up to 30%. Okay. But within the sector, there are serious challenges in getting women to join the security services.
Yeah.
At one point, in the police, they had to drop the standard. The police recruitment process, you have to be a high school graduate to be recruited. At one point, they dropped it to 9th grade for women, so that they will be able to have more women apply. But then there's a backlash, because if you bring in 9th grade, 10th grade, and you take them through a special training and a special, time for promotions or time for appointment to specialized unit, they are handicapped, because you have people with degrees, you have people who are smart high school graduates, men, and you have to take a test. You have to compete with them to be able to get a promotion. So we had proposed that these females that came through that special arrangement, opportunities should be given to them to go back to school and graduate from high school, and give them additional incentives to maybe take up additional training. So I think that is one area that they need to look at. In terms of protecting the females within the security sector, there are agencies that have developed what we call gender policies. For example, the Liberia National Police, the Bureau of Corrections and Rehabilitation, the Liberia Immigration Service. They have developed gender policies. But we need to review those policies to see the implementation of those policies, and whether there's a need to upgrade. The other agencies don't have, like the fire service, the EPS. Some of the agencies don't have.
So you think policy in itself plays a major role when it comes to where you guys want to reach?
Definitely so. It's very important that you have a policy that will guide the process as to how you get females, how you're supposed to interact with them, how they are supposed to be motivated. In addition, each agency is supposed to have a gender focal person.
Yeah.
You know, and so most of the agencies do have, but then we want to see how well these policies are working. You know, because there might be instances where a female officer is victimized and she does not want to maybe report it or come out. So what are the causes if that is happening? So we also need to look at that. So I'm quite sure within the next couple of months, when we launch our report and what the National Gender Taskforce has, maybe a dialogue or a discussion will take place as to how we can also incentivize, you know, the systems to make sure that officers or female officers, you know, are well taken care of.
Mr. Griffiths, there is this ongoing UN Women, UNDP, IOM joint project on inclusive security, and that talks about all the team, nothing for us without us. Now, I'm key on that because if you are opting for 20% women's participation in security sector, when you go to the women themselves, what are they really saying? Because let's also look at this issue about gender role. People feel that there are some things that only men should be the one to do it, and not the women. So what are they really saying to you? Are they embracing the very idea that you want 20% women's participation into the security sector? Or are they saying to you, no, that thing, that man thing, man, let the men go ahead and do it?
No, the problem here is, you know, when it comes to security, there are various specialization areas, you know. Now, if you, let's assume you want to be with the PSU or the ERU. Those are physically challenged departments,
Yeah.
where you need to be able to shoot, you know, and you need to be able to take exercises. And so many a times the women join, but then when it comes to the training aspect, they are challenged. And you don't want to reduce you don't want to reduce the standard because you want to accommodate women. So like we had a training at the police academy before the elections for PSU and ERU, and out of the class of 50, you only had one female officer that was there. And so you see when it comes to those tactical areas, there are challenges.
So more concentration should actually be placed on the recruitment process.
Yeah, and when they are recruited, I mean, you have specialized areas, you have other areas that are like software, not too much activity is there. I mean, the women mostly they do communications, they do the traffic work, they do records. You know, so there are departments within the police and within security institutions that female can really, you know.
So they should just be at the suffer level.
Yeah, no, I mean, so if you.
But let's also look at the issue about gender equity now. If you talk about that, then we will look at the issue about gender equity.
No, agreed, and so it means that for them to occupy other areas that are tactical, it means that you need to have the toughest women coming in. I mean, women that really can stand the test of time. Look globally. I mean, in the U.S., it's just recently that they started having women, you know, at the infantry, because there are tremendous challenges when it comes to those type of operations.
Yeah.
And so the women are there. Yes, you have very few that can stand the test of time. But if you look at the other end, motivation is also another factor. If you are not paying the police, you know, a good remuneration, and you want the females to join, they will say, well, what am I going there to take $150 as my pay? They want to be engaged in a profession that at least they will be paid in a good sum. So you have people like, you have many college graduates in the police who are male and female, but you have more male graduates, college graduates, than female. And so if the female goes to the university and gets a degree, she wants to work at a bank, she wants to work at in areas where she can really make something, instead of going to security institutions where they have challenges in morale, they have challenges in confidence, the confidence level is low, so there has to be a discussion. If you, like what I said, lower the standards, if you lower the standards, it's also a challenge, because to work as an investigator, let's say you want to be a detective, an investigator, you need to have a higher IQ than the ordinary police officer. And in some instances, you need to have worked for like 5 years in uniform before you can be promoted or you can be assigned to an investigative unit. And that requires a high level of thinking, a high level of understanding of issues. So,
and more to that also requires the issue about self-initiative, going outside of the bounds, and taking on responsibilities.
One challenge that we find is the issue of the English writing reports. That is very, very critical. In the past,
on the part of the women.
Well, on the part of all the officers.
Average.
Almost we have challenges in that. We recently conducted a series of training in writing reports within the criminal justice system, where you had correction people, you had all the security people there. And that is one of the challenges, because it is said, I don't care how good you are as an investigator, the report that follows the investigation is more important than even what you did, because you can do all your investigative work. If you cannot present it in a very good report, you're going to lose that case in court. And that is why we believe that the females should be also given opportunity. Like we have conducted training for over 200 females within the past 3-4 years. Working with our sister agency, the Female Law Enforcement Association, we have been able to train over 200 females in different areas. So we need to continue the training. If they are going to compete with their male counterparts, they also need to be, given additional
training. Are they
training.
seeing themselves in that light, just as you are seeing them, or are they seeing themselves as people, though they are already within the security sector, are they seeing themselves as people who should just subject themselves to their male counterparts?
No, I don't think so. I think
do they really see that competitiveness?
They are seeing themselves as competing with their male counterparts, and I like for the AFL. I must commend them. The training is so great in the AFL. They are sending people out, both male and females. Like we had this internship it just closed last Friday. We had a second lieutenant from the Army, and when she went back, she's going to be also doing a 3-month training in computer literacy. So they are pushing the females. They are trying to empower them. And even in the police, you see the females also going out for training in Ghana and other countries. They want to be able to make sure that they are placed in a position that they can compete with their male counterparts. So even with the females, even though you have a few that came out on this special, arrangement, but you still have females in the police, like the deputy DIG for administration. She did criminal justice, like I was teaching them, and she was one of my students. And you have several of them, of these ladies that are out there. You have Jatu Golofale at the police academy. They have some tough women in the police. All we need is to be able to make sure that at least the president sees 1 or 2 of them and add at that commissioner level, that top brass level, or when we have the LMP Policy Management Board, which is supposed to be activated very shortly. It was activated, but because of the change in government, there might be a need to review the members. And so that board is responsible to make sure that everybody who is promoted within the police, is promoted based on merit,
Merits, yeah.
based on standards.
I don't know whether this applies to the security sector, but in the business sector, we see a lot of businesses employing women, and then there is this belief that they employ women because, you know, when you have a woman, you know, at your business center, it attracts more men, you know, it motivates them to come. So it's about this pull factor to your business. What is the very essence of having women in the security?
Well, in one instance, cases of gender-based violence. Now, if you have if you have men in the room where a female victim comes in, she will feel embarrassed to even relate her experience.
Okay.
But when you have female officers there, you know, she will have the confidence that yes, I have a female here that can understand my situation.
No, it's also a challenge because remember, sometimes females don't easily trust their friends. Females, they are hard on each other.
No, for this reason, that's why you have the Women and Children Protection section. I mean, that was specifically why they created that section, because they felt that when women are victimized and they come to the police station and they talk to the men scorn them, you know, and the men laugh and then they joke about the issue. So when you have the females there who are investigators and look at the issues, they can understand and they can be able to, you know, take the appropriate action. And look at the current case in the U.S., where you have this Supreme Court candidate, and you have allegations of misconduct, sexual misconduct by some women, and the Congress had to call in a female prosecutor to be able to be the one to hear, you know, the complaint and to interrogate or investigate the issue. Why? Because it was felt that when the women are there, they are able to understand the issues and to be able to take a decisive action that would benefit, you know, the both parties.
So it's more like about confidentiality.
Well, trust.
Trust.
Yes, trust and having confidence that, yes.
Don't you sense that there could be some level of sentiments based upon, you know, the very fact that, oh, there's a female and I'm a female investigator, so I have to apply some you know, that female sentiment feelings for her.
But you should remember that for everything that you do, it is based on evidence, right? So there's no sentiment there. If a victim comes in and they're able to explain what happened.
Good morning. Dosia, go ahead. Thank you so much. For the very first time, at least you were brief. Good morning. Good morning. Let's hear you. Lower the volume of your receiver. Go ahead. Not much time. Don't waste time, please. No, we can't continue with you. I'm sorry. Good morning. Good morning. Let's hear you. Go ahead. Okay, you'll respond to that. Okay, so Mr. Griffiths, not much time we have. Let's just get your parting comment on this issue. I know these will be regular discussions we'll have out of the time to talk about women's participation, which is very key.
Yeah, we still feel that there is a need to get additional women in the security sector, and that we just hope that the government will continue to incentivize the system, the sector, provide more incentives, salaries, like barracks, you know, because one of the challenges that they have, if you are going to assign an officer, like say in Maryland, who is not from Maryland, there's a challenge for that guy. He needs accommodation and all that stuff. So once the government puts in place these incentives, it will help to motivate people coming in and joining the service.
Okay. Thank you so much. He is Mr. Siri B. Griffiths, President, Liberia National Law Enforcement Association. We've been here talking about violence against women in the security institutions and the establishment of accountability mechanism. Thanks to Lila Pukuyu, who are earlier on been here, as well as David Koti. And this is how we are concluding this Abraham Gossett Win and Oscar Moba's edition of the TBS for this week. Kofa Bien Musa Kane will be here tomorrow to sum up the week. Until then, it's bye-bye from here.